How you doing? I'm Matt. Today I want to talk to you about 5 workshop upgrades that you can make in your workshop that'll actually make you want to be in here more, if that's even possible. If you're interested in any of the products I'll talk about today, there'll be a link in the description below. One of the very first upgrades I made was lighting. I actually bought these. It's a set of 6 Sunco brand lights on Amazon for about $100, give or take. And this was the biggest and best upgrade I've made other than number 5, and we'll get into that later. But this one is, man, it just made such a difference like night and day, especially when I was working in early mornings and late evenings in the shop. It would get really dim because all I had was 2 round regular light bulbs in the ceiling. And I actually went ahead and replaced those a couple of months after I got the 6 just to give me just a little more pop in here. So the good thing about these is they're very easy to install and they're very easy to connect. They're plug and play and they daisy chain off of each other, which means you just plug one into the other all the way to the last one. The first one you just plug into a 110 outlet, and I was lucky enough that I have a 110 outlet in the ceiling for the garage door opener. But if you don't, you could likely just run an extension cord down the wall and use some cable hangers to hang up your cables, similar to how I've got mine hung from the ceiling to keep them from drooping too low. I don't know if I mentioned, but they are LED lights. They're not fluorescent, so they don't flicker and all that stuff when it gets cold, and they keep a good, consistent, even light. Excellent when you're building projects and you're trying to see, especially finishes, and trying to see those lines. I've had these since February of 2019, and they're still going great. These are 4-foot LEDs, and if you don't want to attach those to your ceiling and you just want the regular screw-in light bulbs, or if you're renting and can't change things, they basically have 3 wings that have LED panels built into them. Looking at them, they hurt your eyes. They're just super bright. I would recommend those if you're not gonna go ahead and get the ones that attach to the ceiling that are bigger. This video is brought to you by 731woodworks.com. Go check out our online store. We have easy to follow build plans to help you make awesome projects. Number 2 that I upgraded was the garage door. I insulated that, and all I did was just use some hard foam board with a full back. It's very inexpensive and it makes a pretty big difference. This door faces the east, so in the summertime here in South Arkansas, that sun really beats on that door. So this helps deflect some of that heat. But the main thing I noticed was the temperature in the winter. This actually helped keep the shop warmer. I was losing a lot of heat and I didn't realize it through the garage door itself. This stuff is extremely easy to put in. It's extremely easy to cut just with a box blade. This is one of the grades that is inexpensive, but it helps more than you would think it would. The number 3 upgrade that I made, and I made this slowly over time, is this flooring. A lot of people ask me what this flooring is. This is horse stall mats. You can buy them at your local tractor supply store or farm supply store. It doesn't hinder the movement of any of your tools if they're on rolling carts or on a mobile stand like my table saw, router table, or even the workbench that's sitting on there. It doesn't flatten out that much. They're very stable. They're meant to go in horse stalls. And the way I joined them together, if they were small pieces I needed to cut to fit in place, then I just took some Gorilla Tape and taped down. They're bendable, but they will break if you bend it in half. The way I cut mine was just a razor knife, several passes with a straight edge, and then it'll break right into where you cut it. What you'll notice when you first put this down, it's not gonna feel like it's stuck very well to that rubber, but give it some time, it'll be there for quite a while. So this has been down for at least probably close to 2 years. You can see where it's kind of peeling up. Stuff is super simple to replace. Peel it up and put a new piece down. The reason I got these mats was because I started my home gym and I wanted a place to be able to work out without being on concrete floor, doing burpees and, you know, all kinds of good stuff out here, lifting weights and things. The reason I decided to go ahead and do the whole floor was because I noticed immediately that when I was out here working, especially if I was standing a lot, that my back and my feet weren't hurting as much anymore. Matter of fact, they stopped hurting. I think it's important to be comfortable when you're working, and I have noticed a giant difference in the way my body feels after working on the concrete floor all day versus working on these rubber mats all day. So I recommend these. This little jewel is a game changer in the shop. You wouldn't think so, but this is a dehumidifier. In South Arkansas, it gets extremely humid. We're talking upper 90% humidity most of the summer. It's bad. This has saved my tools from rusting and it has made it more comfortable in the shop. I bought it for 2 reasons. I could take and attach a garden hose to it, run it out the garage door, and now it drains constantly outside, and it's automatic. So you can turn it on, You can set it on whatever setting you want, but you can also just put it on comfort mode and it basically regulates it at about 55 or 60% humidity. Now, if you don't want to throw a garden hose out the door, it has a container that you can just pull out, empty out, and put it back in. I tried that for a little while, and I was emptying it out 2 to 3 times per day in the summertime in South Arkansas. So this thing it works extremely well. The number 2 reason, and one of the main reasons you'd want one, is for tool rusting. You know, if you have table saws, jointers, planers, all that stuff with these cast iron tops, this stuff rusts extremely fast if you don't keep it protected with something. I use Bow Shield T9 as a protectant on mine. You can use paste wax. There's several things you can use. However, even with that stuff, if you have a high humidity level in your shop, they will still rust extremely fast. And while the dehumidifier itself was pretty expensive starting out as far as an initial cost at a couple hundred, I think it's $250, but you have to think about that as you're protecting your investments like these tools. Another thing a dehumidifier is going to do for your shop is it's going to bring the moisture content down in your lumber or your wood that you're using, which is big, because if you're trying to keep things from warping and twisting and things like that, then that moisture content that's in the air is soaking into your wood. If you're able to regulate that in your shop, it'll help dry that wood a little faster and keep anything from twisting and warping and things like that. I have noticed a big difference in the way the wood reacts and all that when the humidity is regulated constantly. Last but not least, if you watch this channel, you know I got a mini split a few months ago, back during the summer. We put it in probably one of the hottest days of the summer. It was over 100 degrees every day for the next couple of weeks after we put it in. My initial thought was I was going to turn it on while I was out here, turn it off when I was in the house. And what I found was that doesn't work, because all your stuff gets hot in here. The flooring, your tools, the workbench, all that holds that heat in. And it takes hours to bring it back down, so it's better just to leave it on. I leave this thing on about 74 degrees most of the time, 74 to 72, and just let it bump. Actually, our electric bill went down. I couldn't believe it. 2 months in a row, it has went down from where it was. This thing is extremely efficient, like extremely efficient. It's one of those things that you didn't know you needed kind of thing, but I knew I wanted one for a long time. A mini split is another investment tool that you're gonna pay for, and it makes it enjoyable to come in the shop and work. Now the temperature is not unbearable. You're not dripping sweat all over your projects and getting little sweat droplets everywhere and making it gross looking. As far as heat goes, I've turned it on a couple of times already, because you know if it gets below 50 here in Arkansas, we cold. So I've turned it on just to knock the chill out of the air. It's like quickly. I have a whole video on how to install that. It's a DIY unit. You don't have to charge anything as far as put Freon. It comes pre-charged. Everything just hooks up. It's super simple to do. I did hire an electrician to come over and wire it up for me because it's 220 volt. I had to add a new breaker for it. But other than that, it comes with everything you need. I mean, I think most anybody can do it. In my opinion, the mini split is likely one of the best investments I've made in my workshop. So I get a lot of questions on how the dust affects both the mini split and the dehumidifier. Not really questions on the dehumidifier, but it does the same thing. It's sucking air in and pushing air out. So on the mini split, I haven't had any issues. I've checked the filters pretty regularly, about once every week or two. You know, it's gonna get dusty with any environment, doesn't matter if it's in your house or whatever, and I was able to clean those really easily. They come right off. Now on the dehumidifier, I have to clean it a little more, I think because it's lower and it sits right by the CNC, which dumps dust on it all the time. But I haven't had any issues with that. On the mini split, I turned this Laguna air cleaner on, and it purifies the air or gets those fine dust particles out. I do believe that has helped the mini split. Is that a necessity before you get a mini split? Probably not, but it also can't hurt. Now I've seen a lot of people just take a box fan with a filter. That helps as well. Just anything like that will help just keep that fine dust out of the air. And that's one of the reasons I wanted the Laguna air cleaner, was to filter the air out. If you like this video, you gotta click that box right there. It's gonna take you to 5 tools every woodworker needs. If you click the box, you get a big old virtual fist bump. Also, another one of my favorite videos right there. Thanks for watching.